Hello everyone, Siri Emerald here, and this is my video of the Hot Toys Marvel Iron Man 3 Sideshow exclusive Mark 24 XXIV. That's 1021 plus 5, and then the 1 minus the 5, that's a 24. 1/6 scale collectible figure MMS 303 Movie Masterpiece series of the tank, and I'd already unboxed this and made a video previously. And then I had some computer problems. That's why I haven't been able to put the video up. So I put him back in the box so I can show you what he looks like when he comes about. This is kind of a interesting way of doing this time. So here's the front of the video. Of course, we have the Sideshow exclusive sticker. Now other markets will have a different type of sticker. I believe there's 3 different stickers. There's one kind of like a triangle shape, one is kind of like a starburst shape. So depending on what market you're able to obtain this from, it will determine which sticker you actually get on the outside of this box. But it also means that it's exclusive. It's not available at every one of their different retail outlets. Like there's a few retail outlets out there that sell a lot of great Hot Toys and have them available immediately upon release to your area, but they won't have this one directly sent to them by the Hot Toys manufacturing company. So they'll end up coming from exclusive retailer. So only certain retailers are exclusive retailers. Sideshow, of course, Toy Sapiens, VIP membership at Hot Toys Base, Secret Base is another exclusive distributor. I don't know of all of them. Those I know for a fact are some of them. So on the front of this figure, the actual on the front of this box, the figure itself is rough, kind of like a fine grit sandpaper. And you might be able to see some of the texture in there, whereas the rest of the box is smooth, just as the numbers are smooth as the box. So everywhere where there's figure at, or Iron Man suit at, is rough, but every place where it's not is smooth. So all that's rough. And here on the side, it's half of the spelling of the word tank, and you turn it to this side, it's the rest of the spelling of the word tank, with the 1/6 scale collectible figure MMS 303 right there, and there's 24 again, mark XXIV, which is 24. And on this other side, we have a similar setup, only it's reversed. So this is the silver letters on the brown or copper, and this is the brown on the copper. It's not really a copper, it's not really a silver, it's not really copper. I don't know what you would call that. This is kind of probably more copperish gold than this is. It's not really silver. This is silver, so I don't know what you would call this. Maybe like a rose gold, perhaps? Yeah, I would say rose gold is probably pretty close to what this color is. So you have kind of a copper gold, you have silver, rose gold, and kind of a rose brown there are the colors that you get. On the back here, up here it says tank 1/6 scale collectible figure MMS 303. Let's get my focusing to do what it's supposed to be doing. I don't know what in the world is wrong with it here. It's acting stupid. It's another thing I need to consider getting soon is a new camera, because this camera is not performing the way that I want it to. So there it says tank again, 1/6 scale collectible figure MMS 303, and there again 24 mark XXIV, that's Roman numerals for 24. And it says warning, choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3 years old, adult collectible, not a toy, recommended for ages 15 and up. And right below that it says warning, this product is for ages 15 and up. Please read these instructions carefully before you open the product. The product is not suitable for children under 3 years old due to small parts and may cause choking hazards. Some components are rather sharp in shape and fragile. Exercise care during unpacking and disposing. I can't imagine disposing of one of these guys. That would be difficult for me. Please keep them out of the reach of children under 15 years old and not allow children to manipulate them. Some components are of limited movability and could be damaged if inappropriately twisted or bent with excessive force. Okay, and right here it has another notice that says this package is intended to protect the product itself only. If they ever send you one of these with a bent up corner or a ripped box, or one that UPS has destroyed the box as they delivered it to you, they're not going to replace the box. That's what they're saying. And here it says, again, Hot Toys presents Movie Masterpiece Series, 1/6 scale, collectible figure, Iron Man 3, Mark 24, made in China, tank. There's your companies that are involved with Hot Toys Limited, Secret Base, Toy Hunters, and 2015 Hot Toys. All images and trademarks or copyrights of Hot Toys, all rights reserved. So there's the outside of this box. It's a sleeve box. This slides off, and when you slide that off, you end up with what I call the shadow box. And so there's the shadow box right there. You can see me in the reflection. And the shadow box has Iron Man 3 on the top, Marvel Iron Man 3 on the bottom. On the side, it's very much like the outside of the box was, with the markings and the color on both sides. On the back of the box, there again it says tank, 1/6 scale collectible figure, Mark 24, the tank on the side. And these are the people responsible for this figure. So we have creative producers Howard Chan and JC Hong, and production designers Jason Wu and Sherman Lee, engineering designers Jason Wu, Kessler Lee, and Z.G. Young, painting controllers Kay Lam and Lok Ho, accessory sculptors Joseph Sang and Viva Lai, accessories supervisors James Lee and Fai Chan, package designer Cha and Monster Jr., photography director Ka Kin Thomas Sui, and production controllers Jason Wu, Sherman Lee, and Fai Lui. And I always hope that I'm saying these names correctly. I'm not trying to be disrespectful by saying them in the wrong manner if I am. So thank you guys for making this figure. So I'll set this over here. And we'll continue on now with the goods. This is what we're looking forward to right here. So here he is in his little box. And up here is the classic warning that says, please read instruction sheet first and follow all construction details during the assemble process. And what we see here is the Mark 24. Now, the Mark 24 tank is a direct repaint of Mark 17. And I use that term only as a descriptor, not as a complaint. And it's not a repaint where they're just taking a figure and repainting it purely for the profit of the company. They're not just making another figure, for instance, when they've made 3 or 4 versions of the Mark VI. And there really wasn't no changes in it except for making them battle damaged or something along that line. This piece truly is a movie represented figure. It is a piece that was seen in the movie. It is a piece that is in the Marvel database. It's in the book. If you were to purchase the book that shows all the armors in it, it is a repaint of the Mark 17 only because, in my opinion, the production crew that was making the armors for the movie knew that they needed to make 42 different armors. And I imagine they started getting lazy or started getting tired or started trying to find ways of making their job easier. So instead of redesigning brand new from the ground up armors, they just started either repainting them like they did this, or combining multiple armors, which is what the brunt of them are. The Mark 8, the Mark 9, the Mark 20, the 18, the 19. They're all just combinations of other armors that are out there. The original ones would be, besides the first 7, the next original one would be 15 and 16, and then the 17. 33 is an original one, 35 is an original one, 25 is an original one. You know, there's a few of them that are original, but other than that, the majority of them then are just bits and pieces of other ones reassembled into different configurations. This literally is just a repaint of a Mark 17. So there's a few things to consider. If you already have the Mark 17 and you're not an avid collector, you're just a once in a while collector, you just want just a couple of the pieces, this may not be a figure that you'll end up buying. Or you don't feel that you should pay for a figure that's pretty much the same thing, then no, you won't buy it. If you are like me, a completist who wishes to have the entire collection of every single armor that they make, and you'll throw all your money that you make right at Hot Toys and Howard Chan, and just going to keep getting more rich from you, and you'll do it anyhow. Well, what can I say? Welcome to the club. But I'm very happy to have this piece. They've made some changes to it, and I will get to that when we get to it. The Mark 17 is still able to be purchased from distributors. This is also available for purchase through some distributors. So get them both. Get one. Get neither. I just hope that you enjoy collecting whatever it is that you choose to collect, and however many items you do decide to collect. It's a hobby. It's something that you should enjoy doing. And as long as you're getting enjoyment from it, then what does it matter what anybody else thinks on what it is that you purchased, or however many that people are making, buying, or selling, or however you enjoy your hobby. Enjoy it. It's your hobby to enjoy. So what we have over here, I'm pretty sure this is a Mark 8, if I remember correctly, which essentially is a Mark 7 and 17. It may be the Mark 9, but I think it's the Mark 8. So we'll go into that. And this, I'm pretty sure, is the Mark 27. It is the disco. I think 27 is the number of it. And people have been excited about this figure for a while. It's funny, if you look at some of the older pictures online, they'll show the House Party Protocol, or the wine cellar, which is sometimes what it's called, but it's the armor, the hollow armor that Tony Stark had, and Hot Toys was displaying them in that manner. And they use all sorts of figures just to fill in the empty spaces that they had. They didn't have all the figures out yet. And some of them are actually sneak peeks, like they had the Mark 25 Striker, but they had it disassembled and hanging, like they ended up selling the Mark III as a construction piece, where it's just the upper portion of them was when they had the Mark 25. Now, the reason they had the Mark 25 is because the Mark 25 is the one that was shown in the movie in that manner, where the piece is actually his arm is underneath him and he's actually hanging, and the Mark 25 is that way. They decided to reduce the Mark III, though, and I don't know if it was because they weren't done with the Mark 25, but they wanted to get the construction piece out for whatever reason. Maybe it's because the Mark III is also one that we see hanging up inside his garage. He's working on that one there. So maybe that's why they decided not to do two of them. Make your Mark 25 if you want to do that as well in the sellers. So anyhow, when they had all the sellers up, one of the ones that they had was a figure that looked like that. It was not that. What it was a Mark 7 that had been repainted. Hot Toys does different benefits and get-togethers where they will offer figures to artists to repaint however they wish. And this one particular artist had taken a Mark 7 and painted it similarly to this, not exactly like this, but very similarly to it. It was kind of blue and yellow instead of the blue and orange. And they used that figure in their display of the House Party Protocol, or the wine cellar, or the Iron Legion armor, Hall of Armor that they had. And people seen that and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And the response that people were giving was that it was the Mark 27 Disco. And it was not. The Mark 27 Disco was not up. It wasn't available. It wasn't made. It wasn't. The pieces weren't even there. It required some pieces of armor which haven't been made yet, and those are pieces from the Mark 40 shotgun. So in order to make the Mark 27, you have to have pieces from the shotgun, and that would be the lower legs and the arms, if I remember correctly, are what are of the Mark 40 shotgun. And the Mark 40 shotgun was nowhere near completion at the time that was produced. So now the Mark 40 shotgun is actually out. A prototype's been made. Well, it's not out, but the prototype's been made. The piece is being released next year. So the Disco, I imagine, could be coming soon afterwards. And this is a little tease, I guess, to keep us invigorated for it and excited about the piece coming. So every time they make a new piece like that, we can look forward to more pieces coming. So with the Mark 25 Striker that has come out, and the Mark 26 Gamma, which was just introduced, we know that they'll be able to continue on with some of the other figures. I think it's the Mark 19 that uses the Mark 25? I don't remember. I need to go through them all, and I'll share with you my information that I have in regards to all that. That's the Mark 27 Disco. Now, the other things that this guy comes with are these repulsor blasts on his hands. Other than that, his hands are the same configuration that the Mark 17 comes with. So we have him with his fists and his articulated fingers, which is this one right here, and the repulsor hand, which is the one where the connections in the back of it, the hands lifted up into a repulsor area. And then they've added these with the actual repulsor blasts on them. Now, these pieces are glued onto this. They do not come off. You can't take those off and reinstall them easily onto other pieces. You can by super gluing them onto whatever piece that you wish, but they are on this piece specifically. So let's get him out of the box. And we have again the black figure stand base, which is similar to the Mark 42 armor test armor with his little area that he works up, and this is the part that would retract down into his wine cellar. It does have the area for the button, but it does not light up. Only one that lights up is the Mark 42 mech test version, or prehensile armor testing version. We have here 3 display rods. This is a longer rod, similar to the one that comes with the Mark 7 Stealth, a very tall rod. And then you have 2 shorter rods, one for the Mark 27 and one for the Mark, I'm thinking it's the Mark 9. And down here we have the batteries and the lobster claw and the chest RT Repulsor Thrustor blast, energy blast. I imagine in the stories, the comics, there were different kinds of blasts that his Unibeam would put out. So I don't think in the movies they necessarily expressed exactly what it is he's shooting out. It's just a blast of energy, and it could be for anything. It works. He flies with it. He moves things with it. It's a lot of power. So this guy here, this chest piece, is sharp. So definitely be careful with this. I imagine it could be fragile if you were to drop it. It has some very sharp edges on it, and so be careful with this. Now, the way that it clicks on is right here and right here. You may be able to see just below the very tip another little tip right there and right there, and those 2 little tips latch into his chest. And believe it or not, this will fit onto the Mark 17. So if you decide you want to put this on your Mark 17 instead of your Mark 24, you're welcome to do it. It will fit. So this will go on either the Mark 17 or the Mark 24. And I'll let you figure out what you think this resembles. I've heard a few people make a few different comments, but it makes sense how you would design it to be what it is supposed to be. It appears to be a ball of energy or a fireball or something shooting out, and I can see this. I can see that being a good representation of what it is. Okay, so one of the things you may notice compared to his twin is he's a little more battle damaged, and some guys would say that this isn't battle damaged at all, but he's not in brand new pristine condition. So the figures come really in 3 ways. They come brand new pristine condition, they come, whereas Tony's never used it or he keeps it nice and shined up, they come like this, which is used, gently used. He's been in a few bits, he's scratched up a bit, he's seen a little bit of action. And they have total battle damage, where he's got bullet holes in them and then pieces broke off of them and all that. And so this is, I would say, scuffed up or used, loved, maybe be another term for him. So he's got his scratches into him. He also has, from what would be effects of him using, are some exhaust ports here which have the bronzing from the heat. So you can see those exhaust ports there, and there's some exhaust ports down here on his legs. So that's cool to see that there's the functionality of those pieces doing what they would do. A little bit of a scorching right there as well. So that tells you that this is a very fast-moving piece. I would imagine he's put these areas here for him to suck in some air and superheat it and propel it, and use it as a propeller to move him forward. And that's what this piece would be for, a very fast-moving piece in that regards. Armor. And you remember the reason he did all these is because when he had his life flash before his eyes, he decided he needed to try to make an armor for every scenario to keep himself alive and prepared to fight whenever he would need to do something. So I've already put the batteries in, so I'll light them up for you. It's difficult for me to get my finger in there. There we go. There's a small little area there. Put that back on there. And take his little helmet off here. And slide that over. Turn his eyes on. Put his helmet back on. And then his little arms are right here. And we'll change his arms out. And the ones I'm going to put on the pieces with the blast on them, because they do light up. It's pretty cool. As you may be aware, if you've collected some of these pieces already yourself, you have to have these repulsor hands in a specific position in order for the light to travel the most. And there's no exception here either. So when you're posing him, you have to pose the hands in a specific line of sight of that LED light in order for you to get the proper lighting of that. So as you move this around, you see how it gets brighter and dimmer. So you'll find a way to get the most light up out of that. And that's the position that you may favor putting him in order to get the brightest light through that. And there's that. And there's that. And there's that. Oh, so let's put this piece on. And it actually clicks into these little pieces right there. So you just put it on there and just press it on. And there it fits like that. So let's put him over here on his display stand. See if I can get it a little darker for you here. Yeah, I have to raise the camera now. So we'll raise that camera up. And I'll see if I can get a little darker for you. All right, so there you go. You can see they light up very well. Guy seems to be falling over a bit. Let's get him standing up here a little more. Counteract that pole. So he lights up really well. They really travel the light through quite nicely, as you can see here. And since I got him set up like that, let me get the 17 turned on over here. I really like these Toys Box cases. They really do a great job of lighting up the figure. I did a video on those earlier. You got to be careful. One of them they sent me does not light up at all, and they told me to take it apart to fix it. So I literally have to disassemble a glued together plastic case in order to fix it, and it came to me broken. I didn't break it, and so let's get these. So that was a little disappointing, but they're a pretty good quality case. And other than that, and it was only 1 out of the 10 that I ordered that came unlightable. So this is the Mark 17. I'm really happy with these cases. I recommend them. Toys box, Hall of Armor 3.0. So there he is, all lit up in this little case there. What I'm going to show you now is how that repulsor thruster from its chest can be put onto the Mark 17. And there you have it. So now it's on the Mark 17, and it's because the pieces were manufactured the same. So you could actually mix and match that if you like. So let me turn the lights back on. I'll set you down right here. Mark 17 is one of my favorite pieces. He was, if I remember correctly, he was my first piece. And he's just a cool piece. So I'm going to turn the lights back on. So I've always had a little bit of a affection for this Mark 17. I like him. Let me turn these lights off here. I like how they've put these little lights here in his side, right there. I've always thought those were really cool. And I enjoy the ability to being able to turn the pieces on and off without having to take off pieces. So anytime I have to take off a piece, I am discouraged by that. I like the pieces where you can just turn them on and off without having to take a head piece off, or without having to take a back piece off to turn it on and off. I guess it's clever to hide it, so it gives them a cleaner design, but I would much prefer not having to disassemble the piece just to turn them on and off. So let's put this back on the Mark 24, and again, there's the little clippies. They'll clip right into the little holes right there, and that's what holds them on. And let's compare the two pieces. And as I was saying, really the only main difference is, turn all these off, is the places where he scratched up. Other than that, it's the exact same piece. No difference whatsoever. So because I like the Mark 17, I like the Mark 24. They just go hand in hand, the twins, if you will. So let's get him. This little chest piece put back on here. I'm also going to show you something else here in a moment. So in comparison, both of them are slightly used in that manner where they're not in pristine condition, which leads me to believe that Tony likes these pieces too. He's used them side by side, or well, not side by side. He's used them just as well. The Mark 24 he may have used more than the Mark 17. Maybe this was, because he's called it the tank, maybe he took it into battle more times than the other. Let me put him right here and lower this camera. I'll show you something else here. Let's get him back in his case over here. Again, I'm a big fan of these Toys Box Hall of Armor pieces. Hall of Armor 3.0 is this one. this battery off here. We'll put the door back on in a few moments. Let's leave that off. I want to show you these. I've told you on numerous occasions that you could use these inside boxes as a display box, and I was challenged by somebody telling me that they didn't think that would work. And I want to show you that even in this piece, with as big as he is, how that can be done. Now, you wouldn't move them around once you had them in here, but if you don't have a case to display your pieces in, this will work perfectly fine. He's having to be turned sideways a bit because of his attachments on him. But now we have our figure displayed and using a dust-proof environment. There you go. So these boxes can be used for displaying your pieces. Little shadow boxes here. If you don't happen to have a Toys box case or a Hot Toys box, you're welcome to be able to display your pieces right here inside these shadow boxes. So there's a good use for that box. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it's taken me so long to get these out to you. Leave your comments in the section below. Tell me what you think of this figure. Tell me, will you be buying it, or do you think you're going to pass on it? What do you think of the little pieces that will go with on him, and also of the miniature armors that they've put up there? Stay tuned for the next video. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Facebook at Siri Emerald, Twitter at Siri Emerald, and happy collecting!